welcome. This is, oops, I already forgot. I messed up the first thing already. See, uh,
Nice.
it's the 2029 mock draft, not 2028. 2028 was last season. So, yeah,
Nice.
forgot to
We're
change
doing a
that already. So, this is
no, we're doing a
Badman's.
redraft.
Yeah, we're doing a redraft already. But this is Badman's at work. This is your AGML 2029 mock draft. Excited to do this. With me here is fellow badman in crime,
Alex. Hello, I'm Alex, Chargers owner again.
as always. I'm Tyler Bucks, but I think hopefully you know this by now. We've done this a few times. But yeah, it seems like a fairly straightforward mock draft. Nothing too exciting happening so far. No interesting trades. No
No,
trade ups.
no
No
interesting trades.
no clause filled trades yet. So probably should mention the disclaimer. Um, this mock is already out the window because of the conditional 49ers Falcons trade. There's a good chance we're just leaving it as is, as if that trade's not going through, because
As if the
who
player is gone.
we don't know
Yeah.
who the Falcons are want to trade up for. We don't know. It could be literally anyone. So
hmm
um, that's just a clause because I'm probably it's going to be different in the top five. Another player or teams such as the Patriots could be looking to trade out as well or trade back. Um,
Yes.
so with that all being said, let's get right into it with um with Kevin at number one. And Kevin, been a tumultuous journey for these Ravens. Um, Last year he had it was Dwayne Haskins, and he's cut.
Yes.
Rosen's back on the team. Like if I was a smart mock drafter, I wouldn't mock Rose. I would be like, Rosen's not, or I would be like Rosen's going to be um the
The starter.
starter because we know how much Kevin loves Rosen. Uh, but I'm not gonna put my money on Rosen being the starter. I think that's just a meme. I think Kevin, at deep down, wants to win a little bit,
hmm
wouldn't you say? So
And
I
I mean,
think
like his team. Looking through the team, like it's not the worst. Even I was very surprised going through.
he got some
Uh,
wins last year. It wasn't like he won his first game of the year against Cody, and like
yeah.
I mean, uh, like Essex, even week one it wasn't prime Essex quite yet, but still was a win. So I mean, this
Or like
team isn't the worst I've ever seen.
Mm. There's even more barren teams right now later in the draft than there are with the Ravens. We'll
Right.
get to those players.
But I think here I'm beating around the bush because while there might be one other player that I could see going here, I think we have to go Cameron Stalker, uh, quarterback out of UCLA. And this guy, he's a first overall pick. Good quarterback, what you want. Got a good arm, got some good short and mid accuracy. Uh, Not a whole lot to say about this guy. He's just your typical good strong arm prospect.
Yeah, that was exactly how I was gonna announce him too. I have him going Stalker as well out of UCLA. Uh, he's exactly like when you picture quarterback, like what you expect.
Mhm.
6'6", kind of mobile, but with the touch and the arm strength that you want. While I'm talking here, I want to give a shout out to Dustin. He
Yeah.
subscribed again. Thank you,
Three
Dustin.
months.
3 months, three
You
long
know,
months.
we're a third of the way to having a baby.
Yes.
Thank you, Dustin. Um, but yeah, Stoker,
Yeah.
Stalker. It's however Kevin wants to pronounce it. I'm not gonna make that decision. I
It's
think it's
it's
probably
the it's
Stalker.
the it's the unanimous pick here.
Yeah.
If he performs better than Dwayne Haskins, I could see the Ravens maybe not playoff ready, but at least cause some uproar in the North.
I think yeah, I think he'll be able to.
And that North is getting volatile again, and we haven't seen the North be this volatile
Yeah.
for years now.
Dustin's the
But with the
only real like
consistent,
sure, because like Brown's a little iffy on a lot of fronts,
mhm.
and then you
Bengals getting older
Bengals,
after that
yeah,
trade with the Browns, and
it's certainly interesting here, but
mhm,
I think Stalker he can hopefully start to turn this Ravens team around.
mhm,
Next up, we have Ryan with the Patriots. Surprising, he has a lot of picks here. So his team definitely outperformed this number two draft spot. I don't know who did he trade with to get this.
who did he trade with? I feel like Redskins.
I don't see them here, so it wouldn't surprise me if it was DDP.
I will check again, but I almost am certain it's
But
Redskins.
you know, Ryan's sitting pretty with number two pick that he
Oh,
really
Cardinals, Cardinals.
Cardinals, right? You know, it's a nice
His
little
his main pick is the 24th.
yeah. But yeah, no, sitting here at two, you're in a really good position because you don't have that one quarterback you need. You can either go BPA, there's some decent players here, or you can trade back, take some other guys that are slightly worse. But I don't think you trade back here with another two picks later on in this draft.
Mhm,
So here, I think you go middle linebacker if you're the Patriots. Certainly something you need. And luckily, there's two great middle linebackers here. And I think you go the Heisman winner number two, McManus, Philip McManus, another UCLA boy for me going
mhm.
off the board number two. I think he's a little more raw than the other middle linebacker that we'll get to shortly. Um, he's, yeah, like out of the gate, some of his pursuing skills just might not be as great as Hubbard. Oh, I spoiled it. The other linebacker, but um, yeah, like McManus as like he's a stud. Not as good of a combine as the other one too, but I think the Heisman upside makes him
Mhm.
go number two, and some of his other things like Duke can hit hard and dude can make some real solid tackles. Like that's what I'm seeing. I think just the upside puts him slightly above a slightly more developed Hubbard.
Yeah. Uh, Again, the Patriots defense, they are the team is kind of riding on these aging veterans, these aging real players. Their entire front seven, I believe, is comprised of like 30-year-old plus starters.
Mhm.
Um, I agree with you that they go McGanus. And he's the Heisman winner. He's definitely more raw, but he has the better knack for the football, and he's a more secure tackle, which is why he won the Heisman over someone like Hubbard or even his quarterback, Stalker.
Mhm.
But so far we're we're looking two for two here, Tyler.
And next up we have maybe Twinkie, maybe Falcons. We're going with Twinkie, assuming
Hmm.
Falcons want either Stalker or McManus, but we know no. Uh, but we're not gonna play God and guess. So we, if the trade doesn't go through, if it doesn't qualify, I think you have to be smart and pick the other God linebacker, which is
Hmm.
Hubbard. Who I mean, McManus is great. Hubbard's they're good 1A 1Bs. I see them as like
Hmm.
especially in a pretty dry. We've actually had some good linebacker classes in the last few years.
It's
Uh,
I mean it's one of the better linebacking classes
yeah,
we've had. I
we
mean like
finally gotten out of the
we're
rut
gonna
of the early
have a
Maddens,
handful of them, yeah.
which is kind of nice. The early Maddens were like, no, no linebacker. Now it's no wide receiver. Uh, but yeah, Hubbard, uh, dude, he's out of Boston College, just solid combine, quick as hell. This dude can turn on a dime. He did a real nice 20-yard in 4.2 seconds. 4.20. Nice. Um yeah, he can do quite a lot. And he's a very complete package. 21 2
Hmm.
can good in pass coverage. I I think number 3 would be a great spot, or if Falcons trade up for him or whoever, and if he's there for number 5 or 4, either one of those would be very happy to get a talent like him.
Yeah. I gotta agree with you again on Hubbard. Especially with the 49ers. I mean, they made the Super Bowl last year, so obviously they don't have a lot of holes.
Mhm.
Um, and so you get the best player available left on board, and it is a need that you fill. One
Yeah.
of the better complete middle linebackers. McManus has just better upside, but Hubbard, I feel like, will come out the better overall player to start, which for the 49ers looking to make it back to the Super Bowl and this time win it, hopefully,
Mhm.
you want that high starting level.
For sure. 49ers, like, who did they? Is this the? I think 49ers traded with the Redskins.
No, no, yeah, yeah, probably Redskins there.
Yeah.
That
Um,
makes more sense.
but yeah, like, I'm picking these two teams, Patriots and 49ers, picking this high up. It's really interesting. And, like, I
Hmm.
mean, with this is the
Yeah,
last
that was Washington.
year for future trade, or last uh it's the last few days for future trading, actually.
Yeah,
So uh like, this is probably the last time we'll see, or maybe one of the last times we'll see, a team jumping up this far up through a lucky trade, and just getting trading with a team that thinks the trade would help them more than it actually did.
yeah.
So I think that wraps that pick up. Next up, we have the Jets. And the Jets, last year they didn't go quarterback when they could have. Or did he end up going quarterback late with one of his later picks?
Uh, I don't know if he went quarterback late. I think he still made the right move with going Riddle.
Right,
It
Riddle.
just sucked.
You didn't.
Riddle
I
was
mean, you couldn't
you
tell.
couldn't.
It wasn't like you
Yeah.
are like you don't have an all-seeing eye that knows the
If
dev. And if any player was gonna have good dev, it was Riddle, which is a shame that he didn't.
are you talking about like late? What's late for you? Like late first? Then no.
Or,
Like later in the draft? Yes, he
yeah,
did
like
take
I
a
meant like
quarterback.
I'm in the late first. He didn't take the
No, because
He
Carter
didn't
got
take
taken
Gordon
by the
last year. Okay.
or Gordon got taken by the Eagles.
All right.
Yeah. So
Well,
like
anyways, he doesn't even. So that even proves what I'm going to say even more, that he doesn't even have a prospective quarterback to have. And so
no,
I think here
no.
it's if as long as the quarterback's here, as long as Wiley's not doing some insane decision to move on from Starkey, I'd be
That would be
mad. I'd be
that would be
upset
quite the brains.
if
I mean,
this
like
is for
at that point, if you take the quarterback, you trade Starkey to the Jets for their fourth overall pick,
that's fair, you know.
right? And then you go like some other player as well.
But man, if Starkey's gonna cry, uh,
Yeah,
even though he's in my division and has terrorized me in the past, I'd be
yeah,
I'd be happy, but as a fan of AGML, Starkey's a Falcon for life, and I'll be sad if
hmm,
he's not. But
yeah,
hopefully, if Carlos Sullivan is there, he's absolutely going to the Jets, no question about it.
yes,
This dude,
absolutely.
not quite as good as Stalker, but he is good to be, or number 2.
Uh, yeah. I mean, like
His short's not quite there.
I would say the one downside between Stalker and Sullivan is age.
Age,
Sullivan's just a
yeah,
year older. But
and
outside of that, like
the short's
I
a
don't really see
little.
that much of a
The
difference.
short
Well, I mean,
accuracy's a little
yeah,
off, and
sure, sure, but like you could really choose whichever one you
yeah.
want.
Um, I don't know. One of them probably is gonna have some sort of dev.
Yeah,
you
one
know.
of the two are Dev for sure.
So hopefully, I hope both are Dev. I want to see both teams succeed. So hoping that both are X factors. But yeah, not a whole lot for me to say about this pick. It's another good, solid top quarterback for a class.
Hmm.
Mhm. But moving on from that, we have potentially Niners, for now Falcons with us.
Hmm.
And I think here, it's a tough call for me. Uh, like, of course, I'm always tempted to go on Javante Judge. Uh, Javante Judge is the only
The one wide
receiver,
receiver, yeah,
and
the only
like
wide receiver in this class.
he's pretty good. He's got a real
Hmm.
good combine. Um, I think, ooh, I think talent wise, you're reaching a little, and you're
Absolutely.
so I don't know. It's a tough call. It's like at this point though, with how long's left with Madden, you're not gonna get a top tier receiver past this class that you can develop or to be even a full or close to his full potential. So this is
Sure, but I
like
feel like you can trade some players to
maybe
maybe get a wide receiver.
I don't know.
Um,
I like Judge, but I don't think you go him here.
you
I
would
think
trade
his
down to get
sure.
Judge.
I think you would trade down for Judge. But there's other players like or teams that are also, especially in this top tier, looking to get wide receivers. So maybe you just are safe and be
Secure
like,
it.
get the guy.
Yeah.
Tough to say. Personally, I think you look elsewhere to your other needs
Hmm.
here. Um, I think here it's tough. You have a couple other needs. Running back, you have an older, albeit superstar, still 72 overall, 28-year-old, running
Yeah.
back, and that's certainly a need. But I think you shore up your D line, get more pressure. That is a, one of the reasons the Falcons just haven't been as good. Their two lines, they've given up too much pressure on their own quarterback. Finally, starting to fix that.
Yeah.
Um, but they're also not getting as much pressure as one would like. So I think here you take the man out of LSU, Max Thomas, right end. The thing
Okay.
that makes me drool over this player, I love him, is he's fast, he's quick, he's decent strength, but he's just got that move with combined with the hit power and tackling. It's just he can get past the guy and cleanly get the quarterback. Like him a lot. He can terrorize the rest of the NFC South, including me, for the rest of this Madden. I like him, especially coming out of this draft. I think Max Thomas is one of the best players in this draft. I think,
Hmm.
especially when you need a right end, it's hard to turn him down.
Yeah. For me, this is gonna be the first time we deviate. I agree with you on the Judge thing. There's not that much left. I still think you can find some other way to find a weapon,
Hmm.
but why not? If you're so focused, I like the Thomas pick. I'll get to him later. But the Falcons don't have a running back, an actual running back. He's superstar, but
Hmm.
whatever. Why not go with the fastest, most explosive running back we've seen, probably this entire draft class, in Abraham out of Ole Miss. He's he's 0.08 seconds before the combine record. He's one of the quickest, most elusive running backs that we've ever seen, and
Hmm.
he's not fumbled. He's fumbled once in his college career. So
Right.
you and that can still be a weapon out of the backfield. So
Hmm.
you still get a weapon of some sort without having to reach on a quarter
Sure.
on a weapon. And to have that breakaway speed as well, they have touched their offensive line,
Hmm.
and I think Abraham's like quick enough to get to the outside. He's quick enough to bounce out, and he can add that dynamic element to an offense that the Falcons have been missing.
You're right. It's yeah.
Like he looks like a oh, what's the guy's name? Chris Johnson.
Sure.
Man's fast. Man's quick.
CJ2K.
Yeah,
CJ2K. I could see that. You
and
know,
it's such a
yeah,
weapon for him to have. He might actually be able to turn screens into a benefit consistently just with the speed that he possesses.
sure. But we'll see. Falcons here have a lot of picks or
Hmm.
options, and I think I'd like that flexibility if I was him. So I'm
Yeah,
curious to see
absolutely.
where he'll go and if he'll trade up who he's aiming
If that,
for that that you'd want to trade up for.
yes,
Next up we have the Saints, and this is the Tim Tobias pick. So Tim Tobias
yes.
has gone. It's the McLeod gang now, and Tim Tobias good dude, just didn't seem to work out. He's always the turd boy. Never would not be the turd boy. So I think you just move away from the turd and gets us number 6 pick. But the thing about the Saints team,
Oh,
what?
Jack was in chat. He wanted to get in on it. Keep going, but
Uh,
I just saw that. That's sad.
but oh yeah, like Saints have a lot of not a lot of holes, and it's tough to mock for
Hmm.
them. Um, could go biggest hole is linebacker, I'd say, but running back with Kamara getting elderly is a potential maybe need, especially going forward. But if I'm Jim, I wouldn't go running back. Kamara's still been the man all Madden. I think Kamara's the reason why the team's so great. Why take carries away from him when you can get, even if you take a slightly worse player than Abraham, which you could have here. Um,
Hmm.
I think you go for the guy that makes it so you have no holes whatsoever. I think you go outside linebacker, uh, Barty left. I believe he's ooh, he's out of Vanderbilt. Um, it's a tough pick for you because I think he's. This is certainly a bit of a reach. Um, because uh, there's just linebackers. The top two were the guys, but
Hmm.
also Barty's still a stud. He's got a killer combine, so fast, so quick. Um, he can run you down, and he's smart at play action. He'll read that play action instantly, so he knows whether to get back into coverage, which he's also good at, or rush for the passer, rush for the running back. He's got that sense. And you can't train that very well. I like Barty here, even if he's a bit raw. I think this is a pick Jim would love to have and just shore up that team. No weaknesses whatsoever. If you get
Hmm.
Barty, I, you know, I like him.
I would on the draft move the thing over.
What thing?
It's like a little,
Oh
it's a little
shit!
off center.
It's yeah.
You're fine. Yeah. For the Saints here, I have the running backs 1-2 going off right behind him. He traded up for a reason. I think Kamar's getting old, and Massey's probably gonna be the closest replacement to Kamara that you're gonna find.
Mm.
This is probably Kamara's last year, and the Saints are gonna be picking up here
You think it's
anytime
his
soon.
last year?
And
I think he can still go a few more years.
I don't think so. I think at 30, he's already 34.
Right, but he's
This is
still 86.
34.
Regression on X Factors, for whatever reason, don't hit hard.
I just don't think he's gonna last.
I think he'll still
Um,
have one more year after this one. I think.
but he's not. Yeah, sure.
So he has 2 more seasons left in him
But
being a starter.
even then, Massey, he's not gonna be picking up here anytime soon.
He's
His
still
team
going
is
to be
too
good.
complete to be picking up in the top 10, and running backs really aren't ever deep.
Sure. I don't know.
And
I think there's
you
other
can
ways of
just.
getting these running backs if your Jim and Kamara does fall off.
Mm, I just see the running backs going 1-2 here. I like Massey. I like his catching skills. I think he's incredibly agile. I mean, he is a receiving back. That's his archetype.
Mhm.
And his skills show that why he is that. He doesn't have the top end speed that Abraham brings, but he still has that quickness and agility out of the backfield for when Kamara eventually goes away, and he has to be ready for that inevitability.
Right. I don't know. It's inevitable, but I think you just can't be wasting picks when Jim's team looks like it's win now. He needs to win today. Like
Sure,
a lot of his players just aren't getting younger. Um, so I think
you still gotta
making that
switch the thing
right,
on the draft.
huh? You
You
sure?
still gotta switch it over. Yeah, it's still showing only. At least to me. I'll check again. Oh no, there we go. It's fixed. My bad.
Don't don't question me.
I'm sorry. My game freezes sometimes.
um, but yeah, like I don't know. It's tough to say. I think the win now, because again, no one's getting younger on that team. By the time Massey or Abraham's ready to take over from Kamara, is it gonna like? Especially because Kamara is what's making that team good, and I'm not convinced either one of those will ever be anywhere as near, even as 86 overall Kamara, what he'll do this season. I don't think it'll
Sure.
ever pick up. I think you just go for the complete package. Uh, get your guy now, and
hmm
hopefully win one last Super Bowl this Madden.
Yeah. Even if by underhanded means, but we won't talk about that.
Uh, Next up we have Tyler Titans. Um, Honestly, Tyler actually made some moves this year, and I'm glad to
hmm
see it. He has three picks this year, so it's exciting to see all these picks for him. Uh, Making some interesting moves. Um, Still has some holes, but honestly, not a bad team. It's a fairly rounded team.
hmm
But I think here you go, the man from Walt Freeman World out of Florida. You go free safety, Walt Freeman. Um, this dude, I'm always been a
Uh,
sucker
I
for.
thought you were gonna make a Walt Disney reference since he's out of Florida,
I
but you
did
just said Walt. No, you said Walt Freeman World.
exactly.
Oh, okay.
Walt Freeman. It's not Walt Disney World. It's Walt Freeman World.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's what Florida was last year. Walt Freeman World.
Understandable.
Please. Oh,
I'm sorry. I was too dumb for that joke.
but yeah, Walt Freeman. I'm a sucker for good combine safeties. I can't help myself. And this dude's that archetype. He can play man. He can run you down. He can hit hard. It's everything I want in a safety. And Titans have been kind of neglecting that safety position for a bit since Byard left. So yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. Take Freeman. Um,
Mhm.
get that your guy in the backfield, and he'll be a killer.
I agree with you. I believe it is Walt Freeman. The one thing I really love about him is his man coverage. He's able to line up with tight ends and actually shut them out. He has the speed and the quickness to catch up to them and be down in the box. Like he can play both coverages in the backfield. He can single high. He can come down in the box if needed. He can be free or strong safety any play. He can be that third nickel corner even if you need it because he has that quickness and the speed is not even that bad. Um, I love Walt Freeman in terms of the package that he brings and the versatility that he's going to allow the Titans defense to explore.
Mhm. Yeah. No, Walt Freeman, especially as an anchor on this team,
Mhm.
gonna finally add something that this Titans team desperately needed. And I mean, with these other picks coming up, I think we'll start to see this Titans team looking after this draft really well rounded and maybe a small little threat to a fairly uneasy AFC South.
Yeah.
I mean, Colts finally tried to make some moves, and we'll see if those will continue to pay off next season. But it's still up for grabs. I could see any one of these teams. Texans only a few years out of a Super Bowl. Titans making some moves. We'll see. Uh, we don't have Jack here sadly anymore, in this first round, but he's
That
still
is
got
odd.
a good team, good killer defense. I could see any of them winning.
Yeah.
Next up, we have rob the Raiders, but don't actually rob the Raiders. Oh, I'm sorry, that was bad,
That's
Rob.
been there for like 4 years.
I know, but you will. Rob Gurley just retired. I think you have a lot of needs, but none I think as pressing as running back. And in my mock draft universe, not Alex's, you just have a lot of um uh whole or yeah, I just lost my train of thought. But in my universe, you have all the running backs on the board. I had the other guys go elsewhere for other pressing needs. But here, I think you have to go. You can't ignore running back any longer, especially if you're Rob. I think getting a killer running back with Abraham, who, mind you, even though I didn't have him going as early, I still think he's good. Just think you go elsewhere when you're this early. Um, but I think Abraham's a stud, and I think Alex said everything already about him better than I could
Mhm.
ever.
Yeah, so for me, unfortunately, both the running backs have already gone off, but he still has to protect Kincaid, who is the lifeblood of that offense still. I was not very impressed with Gurley in his final years anyway. So I see them going Carson O'Neill out of USF, probably the best interior lineman and one of the best linemen in the class. He's he's very balanced in terms of a guard. He can probably even shift outside because of how heavy and anchored he is to left tackle. He can play anywhere on that offensive line that you need him to fill. It's just currently the Raiders need a guard badly, and Carson O'Neill fills that slot in perfectly.
Right. O'Neill's pretty good. Honestly, I find it interesting that you have a guard going before a tackle.
I
O'Neill's
just
rated
well
high.
the thing is for me is Carson O'Neill can be a tackle.
Sure.
He's 344 pounds. He's 6'5", and he's got great strength. Like he's as heavy as Richardson, who to
Mhm.
many is the best tackle in the class, but he's heavier and around the same size as him and
Right.
quicker than him,
That's
right? So
fair.
he can even, like he is a tackle if you need him to be, or
Right.
he's a guard if you need him to be.
I think though, uh, I guess yeah. I mean, tackles are usually more valuable, and I mean, it'd probably
Yeah,
take a little bit of
but
work to
I
make
could see
O'Neal
I can see
to
him
be
as
as
either. I
polished
mean, like
as
he's
a
shaving a few pounds
tackle.
off.
You know,
Mhm.
the infamous Madden gyms that you can hit to lose weight.
Yeah, yeah,
This you could not. You're never or in Madden, you're the same weight no matter what from the day you draft to the day you're retired.
yep.
Never lose or gain a pound. But anyways, we're on to a bad team next. So
Oh,
we're just
definitely.
gonna skip them. Number 10 is the Packers. Oh, just kidding. I
Just
can't. I'm gonna do Paul Dirty and go back though. So number nine's the Chargers, a sad team that's Rocco and company. Uh, kind of like a lot of disappointments last year. It felt like even though it should have been better. Felt like it could have
mhm,
been better, even though 2 years ago you'd have been probably happy knowing it was this close to making or doing anything. You had a good
true.
start. You had a real good start. So I guess that's kind of what made it kind of disappointing. You fell off in the second half. Certainly helped that pace got didn't help that pace got hurt early. But I think here you go, maybe try to fix your, like, we all know, like, you tried to blame it on running back, tried to blame it on
Hmm.
maybe quarterbacking. No, you can't blame the real issue anymore. You gotta go
No.
O line now, and you get
Yeah.
in
And
my.
and
Sorry, what?
yeah. No. Continue. No. Continue.
I think you go with the man, the best tackle on the board. You get Richardson. You get Kenny
Mm,
Richardson, um, left tackle out of Oklahoma.
mm.
And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
I
not
agree. I agree. I'm going Richardson, but I would go O'Neal over Richardson
all right.
because I just view O'Neal as better. I think he's the better prospect.
I
Um.
don't agree. I still like Richardson more. Richardson's a strong boy. Even O'Neal did one more rep. Tough to say, but also just everything about them. Like just Richardson
Also
trained.
Richardson's older, but
Is he old? Well,
he's 22.
I think though you get Richardson, he's so much better at pass blocking. Um,
Hmm.
like you get the man that can pass block so well, make your Rocco even better, get what's
Yeah.
good about it even better, and then he still helps with the run. But
Mm,
I think Richardson helps Rocco, which is your just min max even further. Get
yeah.
just break Rocco
Well,
at this
yeah, I
point.
tried to I tried to address O line, and I did address O line at least in the interior in free agency.
Mhm.
So I do need a tackle. Absolutely, I need to tackle. Uh, I feel like this is going to be a heavy O line class for me.
Yeah.
Uh, and just kind of let my defense die for a year because my defense was the worst defense in the league, unfortunately.
Mhm.
But I can't address it all at once.
Right. I don't know. It's O line. It's not flashy, but it's certainly needed, especially for you. This is like
Hmm.
getting to be Vikings level bad. Of like
Yeah.
the fans getting upset. It's like just take a goddamn O line at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Exactly. And
for
I'm realizing it now.
it's turning from like the point of oh, like most of the years for most teams, O line's like, well, I guess I have to just so we can fix it. This is gonna be a pick that like the Chargers fans like, thank God we have an O line again. I need this. Inject it
Yeah.
into me.
It
Uh,
will be interesting to see X Factor, Rocco.
yeah, no, no kidding. Um,
I'm so excited for that.
how's Mr. Burns doing?
Oh, he's loving life.
Mr. Burns loving life?
Mr. Burns.
Excellent. Anyways, next up we got the Packers. The I'd say Packers. They're another one of these just fairly complete teams, and I don't know why they
Yeah.
keep picking so low. Eventually,
At
you have
some
to
point,
do
you gotta think it's
something.
scheme or
It's
quarterback or
quarterback,
something.
but the problem is their team's too good to get those real early picks. So
Yeah.
you could never do a good. You can't get like a Gillespie or get a
Hmm.
replacement for Gillespie. So I think here though, like you just go probably the one of the best players left, which is Massey, who can just do a lot. I mean, Alex, you already have him gone, and I can see him just
Yes.
doing a lot in the passing game. You said Abraham would be good at screens. I feel like Massey's like just because he's a better pass catcher and can
Sure.
take those catches out of the backfield even better, and just can juke the boy out. He can catch real well. You don't have to worry about him dropping anything. And
Hmm.
that's why I think just as a weapon, he's so much different than everyone else. I think it's just Massey is the man and can be the man in Green Bay if you pick him, and hopefully maybe he's enough to push you over the edge, or else you're gonna have to look elsewhere, probably replacing quarterback.
For me, finally, we have the one wide receiver coming off the board here, Javonte Judge out of Ole Miss. It's still a reach to me, but it's it's something that I feel like can't go on much longer,
See,
even though
yeah, it's
like much longer, right? Like he has to go somewhere in the top 15.
right.
He
Like it's,
can't fall out. He's the only weapon
I think
on this board.
overall wise, certainly a reach, but need
Yeah,
wise and how it's just these last few drafts have
Baron.
been barren for wide receivers.
Yeah,
Like, you're gonna have to get them somewhere. It's just the supplies kind of starting to dry up. A lot of the older guys getting regressing, so you're gonna need the guy soon. I think Judge, even if his overall isn't as good as
yeah.
some of the other guys around him, I think
Mhm.
still
I mean,
draft position isn't a reach just based off of team need. It's becoming
yeah.
almost like a quarterback at this point. Like you'll
I
pick.
mean, like I like his compare. I like his comp,
Oh yeah.
right? Like he looks like a Mike Williams to
Mhm.
me. Just this like big bodied receiver that can jump up and take it down and can beat off press. Like he's got good hands. He's off the ball quick. He beats press well. It's just I don't like his getaway speed.
Yeah.
I and that to me reminds me of Mike Williams. We're like, yes, he's always open, but he's also like a cornerback's always there with him. He just has to jump above the
Sure.
cornerback
Yeah.
at that point.
I think just yeah, wide receiver
He'll never get away. It sucks.
yeah.
And it's
It's could it be Treadwell?
no, because Treadwell doesn't have the hands that
Sure.
Judge possesses,
Sure.
right? Like in terms of uh getting away from the cornerback, yeah, sure, it's Treadwell. Uh
All right. But yeah, we're gonna continue this conversation about Judge going into the Texans pick, 1 year removed from the Super Bowl, now picking top 12. That team's definitely imploded. He blew it up, which is, I
mhm.
mean, no, that's honorable. He did his job, and now he can let the team rest, rebuild, retool, hopefully. But with Dowdy, it's never over. Dowdy can put the team on his back, though. And I think this is why you take Judge. If he's not gone to the Packers, you take him here at number 11. And I think, yeah, Judge is, um, wide receiver in general is kind of becoming a quarterback where you'll take a worse guy earlier just because you need the guy. You need them here. So even though his overall might not be as good as a Massey or Richardson or any of the guys around him, you know. Even
Yeah.
the guys taken after might be a few overall points lower. I think you gotta take your man, bite the bullet on overall, know that you just need this position and it's crucial, and it'll give Doughty a hell of a weapon to just go out and get it, which Doughty's good at giving it to him. Just make sure he
Mhm.
can catch it. And I think, like, yeah, he can catch really insanely, um, even in traffic and with people around him. He can make that insane catch. And I think Doughty just having that target again, uh, Doughty's gonna love it. Maybe sniff the playoffs again.
Yeah. For me, I mean, like going back to that Super Bowl run. Yes, it showed the Dowdy show, the Dowdy fireworks,
Mhm.
but also that defense showed up, and a
Sure.
defense that was very good at getting picks and getting the ball away and stuff back into that offense. So I have the Texans after blowing up address the defensive side of the ball because they still have Grisham, they still have their tight, like they still have a good core. I don't think the Texans need another weapon, nor in my universe is there one available.
Sure. Um. Ooh. Hopefully he didn't just die. Rip. Alex just died. But yeah, Jones. Um. I don't have him going up as here, but I think he's a very good, very aggressive, kind of a guy who's just strong. He'll bully you, but with that strength, he has the speed to comp with it. You know, the one thing that comes into question with Jones is coverage. Not the best in coverage, but uh uh yeah, like Jones um is still that guy who can like get bully. See him almost like a Gladney. Uh Very good in press. Just yeah, a few question marks about how he can do it when he drops back into coverage, especially early on. Um but I think Jones can be a real good dude.
Yeah.
Okay, good, you're back.
Hmm.
I don't know how much you heard of that.
No, I heard it all.
Cool. Didn't mean to steal your pick, but uh, yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. Was my Jones thing not done?
I couldn't. You just stopped talking. Like you cut out
Oh
mid
shit.
sentence, so I just
Okay.
kind of. Hopefully, it didn't.
Dang. I heard it all. We can move on. I think that was a
Cool.
good yeah. I was
Yeah.
like interjecting as well and nothing
I
was
heard
saying, so
nothing.
okay.
So sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Let's move
I
on.
Discord be
I
having
you did a good
issues.
explanation of why I believe Jones is the pick there.
Uh huh. Next up we have the Minnesota Vikings, and I think the new man on the Minnesota Vikings will be Carson O'Neill.
He's like
Um,
48 at this point, not 50.
Wait, who?
Um,
Lizzo?
Lizzo in this year.
Yeah, Lizzo's gonna be like middle aged at this point. Honestly, that's I can't even imagine Lizzo being like middle aged. It'll be like weird to get there. Um,
Yeah.
but no, Carson O'Neill. I'm not quite as high as him as you are. I just
Mhm.
value tackle a little bit more. Just that playing there. But O'Neill's a very good prospect, one of the best interior lineman prospects here, and not one of the best interior linemen. And I think with the Vikings team, you have a lot of needs, but outside of this guard, I think none of them are here that's worth reaching for. So I think you just take that guard. Could even move him to center. I like him at guard. Move one of your other uh, guards to center personally, because you need the center. But I think O'Neal is perfect here for you on this Vikings team, especially protect your new quarterback Hendricks. You
Yes.
know.
Uh, Speaking of protecting Hendricks, I mean, we saw that he now has a quarterback that's not Brissett. I already have O'Neal going. I already had Richardson off the board, so they get the third best offensive lineman in Thurman Ragland,
Mhm.
who is a great pass blocking tackle. I still think he does great in terms of strength, and he's quick off the edge. He can keep up on the right side against the Garrett's of the world, or in
Sure.
that division alone Beck coming off the
Mhm.
edge. Um, and Bosa is still a problem in the NFC. So you
Right.
just take the third best tackle and you pair him with Seth Hendricks and
Sure.
protect him a bit more.
Yeah. No. Ragland O line, of course, is boring, but I think just make this Vikings O line uh short up again. You know. Hopefully you can get Hendricks more time, and just give Kittle hasn't retired yet, right?
No, he hasn't. Nope.
Good. Uh, Kittle, I think, just get him more time to throw to Kittle. That's all you need. Uh, I think that's a winning formula for these Vikings. Next up,
Mhm.
looks like we have the Titans again. Uh, Second time of three this draft. I like this again. I've talked about how much I'm liking how this team's coming together. Um, I have them going corner. I do like Lawrence Jones, like you said, or what I more said for you, because you cut out on my
Mhm.
side. But I have another corner that I rate a little higher than him. The only downside is age. I like shout out to Elon Musk for and his new baby with Xavier Grimes, cornerback out of Virginia. uh,
Nice
I'm
meme.
clever. I like him more than Jones just because he's a monster in coverage. He's good at both zone and man. You don't know what the sim will ever throw at you. You don't know what they'll call for you. You know. So you just get Grimes who can do it all. One thing I that he's older than Jones, so harder to dev like that. But Jones is certainly better at press and just game sense. Like he's much more Jones is more aware and just can tell plays a lot better. But they're both physical beasts, both strong and fast. I like them both. I just have Grimes going a little higher just because I value that coverage out of the gate.
Mhm. For me, for me, I have what you pegged as a top five edge rusher in Max Thomas. I see him falling all the way down to the Titans' 13th pick,
That's a
and like
fascinating thing. It's not because he is deserves to be down here. I feel like for you,
I think he just fall. No, I just think that more pressing needs are needed,
yeah. Looking at all these
and
teams, no one needs edge pressingly
no, because
since
edge rushers have been
Falcons.
so saturated
Yeah.
for draft classes for years that like Max Thomas will fit right in. Titans do need it in
Mm,
a way. I feel like they just need like a right end.
yeah.
Um, and to get this value at 13 it's just
Mhm.
a steal. Like you said, everything that needs to be said about Max Thomas and his great skill set coming off the edge.
Sure. Yeah, I love Max Thomas. I mean, I pegged him top 5 and I think he deserves top 5 personally. I think he's that much of a difference maker with that move, you know. But just yeah, pressing needs. It's like I probably if I didn't pick him to 5 with Wiley, I
Mm,
think it would be tough to draft him anywhere else. And that's not because of him. It's I like if I was had ammo in this draft. I don't pick till the third, and I needed edge, which I do actually need edge. I would, and I was picking kind of around this area. I would absolutely trade up to get him in the try to trade up into the tens to steal him because he's absolutely worth this pick. And if Titans do get him here at 13, I'd be really happy if I was Tyler.
mm.
But yeah, I think that's about everything. Thomas, good. Um, Panthers. Zach the Panthers. I think he's listening in. So shout out to Zach. Probably listening in at the gas station. But maybe
Bless.
I don't know if that's true or not. But he's been known to listen in at the gas station. Um, but here you have again. This is another interesting team where like Labato puts the team on his back for real though. Like
He
I
does. He
doubt he
does.
puts his team on his back and wins, but like Lobato takes what should be nothing and just carries that team like way further. He probably shouldn't be picking at 14. Truth be told, you know, because I mean this team probably should be picking top 10 based off talent wise.
Mm.
If outside of Lobato, dragging them here. So I think with that being said, you try to just shore up the rest of the team, especially the defense where Lobato cannot will his way into getting touchdowns. I think you take Armand Mayer out of Texas Christian. He's 21. He's quick and fast. Still got a bit of muscle on those bones, and of course, he's got the move. He got the move. All that combined, one good player like Mayer. Again, the stupid NFC South. I keep giving them pass rushers. I don't even that good of an O line. Why do I do this? this is like hurting me, but
right?
like I do like
That's why I
Armand
give.
Meyer a lot, or Mayer. Dude's a monster, and I feel like he could wreak havoc for all these other teams, and hopefully give Lobato a little less pressure to just have to do everything himself.
Mhm. Once we find our way back again in similar situations,
Mhm.
I feel that they also are gonna go Amon Mayer,
Yeah.
Armon Mayer. He's still, I mean, like he's still got a great move. He's quick as hell off the line. He, uh, I don't know, I feel like he's just a need that fits, and there's not really any running backs or wide receivers
Right.
or tight end. Like no one else around here really helps the Panthers. That's not a reach,
Right.
and a Martin Mayer is not a reach here.
No.
He's just a good value pick.
I love Mayer here, and I don't want to see him Zach pick it, but Zach would be happy if he picked it, in my opinion. I haven't looked here while we're here. He posted a mock just a second ago, so I'm kind of curious who he picked for himself. He had Max Thomas falling to here, so that's
Interesting. Okay, so that's closer to where. Okay, that's closer to me.
yeah. Again, I think that just falls into uh the from 6 all the way down to 13. There's
Yep.
just other pressing needs that take over the edge. But again, I think stacked edge. Still like Thomas though. Um.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, now we're on to number 15 with the Eagles, and
Eagles.
I think what's interesting about my pick for him is you had him going, and your pick for him I already had going, and they're the same position group. I had Lawrence Jones. I already talked highly of him, and I like Lawrence Jones a lot. The age certainly helps.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my again biggest knock or reason I like Grimes more than Lawrence Jones, um, is the coverage. The coverage being a mystery for Jones and not being a sure thing is always spooky for me. I He's good at press. He's such a physical freak. He's not He's not very tall. Again, I see him as a Gladney. He's such a Gladney.
Yeah.
I,
Yep.
I mean, like he's just good in press. He's good at jamming and just playing physical. And I think like that's a really good skill to have. I like Grimes just because Madden you can't pick the plays or in the sim, but
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence Jones is a good other corner. I like these two corners a lot.
Sure. I mean, yes, like you've alluded to before, I'm going Grimes out of Virginia. Like you said, he's the more sure bet in terms of coverage.
Mhm.
He's I think he's a better start out, but
Sure.
because of age, I see Grimes as the better upside. I think
Right.
he'll eventually pass Grimes.
Do you think by the end of Madden he will?
Yes, absolutely. By
Sure.
the end of Madden, he will. Um, so you have, you know, Eagles. For me, take Grimes because Jones isn't there.
Mhm.
For you, I can see why Titans take Grimes because he's more ready to go, and the Titans want to take advantage of a very
Sure.
disorganized AFC South, whereas the Eagles take Jones because they can build him more for that last year where the Eagles might be good.
Mhm.
But for me, I just have them take the second best corner in the draft, in my opinion.
Mhm. I could see it. Either one, I like them a lot. Both. I think they're the two best cornerbacks. There's another cornerback we'll have going by the end of this, but I don't think even if Madden says he's close to him, I don't think he's in the ballpark as
Yeah.
Grimes and Jones personally. But um next up we have the Browns for 2 picks actually. We got a couple 2 picks in a row for a few different teams in this draft. But first off it's the Browns. Um I think the Browns are in a weird predicament. They just shipped off their whole team, and so they have like they basically have one player that I mean they still have Greedy, I believe. Um, they still have their decent set or back or defensive backs, but I think here with who's left, you gotta just with these two picks just shore up the defensive line, make that line have Garrett. Garrett's
Hmm.
getting so much attention, getting so much pressure. Then you get your other guys who, with the rest of the team or line double teaming Garrett probably because Garrett's that much of a threat. I think you go with the first pick. You go Leon Jamison. He's a speed rusher out of Maryland, 21, and again got the move, got the hit power. I think he'll go very well with all the one-on-ones he'll be getting. Jamison hopefully can be a good number two for Garrett, or even if Garrett ever, I don't know if Garrett will be gone by the end of Madden. I still think he's destroying the overall.
No, yeah.
Um, but as if we weren't ending it, I think he'd be a very good guy who would start just be looking to be in his prime right as Garrett's regressing, and I think Jameson, Leon Jameson would be a great first of three picks here for the Browns.
Yes. I also have them going Jameson out of Maryland. He still brings a similar skill set to Thomas, which I find
Right.
interesting. I just think he's a weaker version of Thomas in every sense of
Sure.
the way.
Yeah.
But he's still a fine addition to the Brown set. I don't. Yeah, Garrett's probably gonna make it to the end of this year. He's still like a 90x overall player.
Mhm.
Uh, and I feel like the Browns have been trying to get a number two for Garrett for a long time, and maybe this is it because they've
Right.
always been picking in the later rounds, so that's like 70 player overall players versus this Jameson, who's probably going to be around a 76, 77 coming out.
Right. But yeah, Jameson. I like a lot of these edge rushers. It's definitely certainly saturated. Uh, but
Mhm.
I think Jameson will make a difference on this team. And then the second Browns pick, I also have them go double dip on D line. I think they go defensive tackle. It could be. This probably won't go here because I know people are spooked by age. But I really like Nick Stevenson here. Nick Stevenson's 24. Um he's out of Florida, aka Walt Freeman World. But yeah, he's the thing I love about Nick Stevenson is he's just a complete package. He's not quite he won't get at the passer, but do you need that? Especially if you take Leon Jameson and you have Garrett, you don't need your defensive tackle getting pressure. You need a guy who can stop that run, just shore up everything, make sure no one gets by, get that big dude in the middle. Love Nick Stevenson. Combine's insane. He's both fast and strong. His biggest knock is he's 24. He's old, but I think here you have to be like, all right, we have like a few more years of this Madden left. You get the guy who will be in his prime when this Madden's over. You can't worry about him retiring early like you may have had to worry about in the first half of this Madden. I think 20 just ignore the age, get the monster Nick Stevenson is.
Yes. Uh, I like Stevenson. I think that they stick within the front seven.
Mhm.
I think they go Barte, which again you had as going six
I had yeah.
to you had him going to the Saints.
I like Barte
One
a
of the
lot.
one of the
Bar
best outside linebackers. And he gets to fall all the way down to the Browns at 17.
Granted I
I
didn't
love his
have Saints reaching for him,
sure,
but
sure, but I
need
mean
was
like
more important I think for Jim there than anything.
so we have you have this fast agile outside linebacker that can cover essentially half the field. He is like Anthony Barr to me.
Hmm.
I think I think he's a better, you know, uh, more polished Anthony Barr, or I guess
Sure.
Devin Bush. Devin Bush is the right one because Devin Bush was the polished Anthony Barr.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what I see in Partey.
Yeah. No, Barte is good. I definitely had him like like had Jim reaching for him, but that's only because Jim has such a solid team that you just go win now. We're here for the Browns. You'd be stoked if he fell here because he's a good talent. He's especially with these outside linebackers you just kind of need, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, I like the pick for you, and or even for me, showing up the D line, just showing up the defense for the Browns. Deal with quarterback later. I think quarterback's not to be found here.
No.
Next up we have the Lions, who have 3 picks in uh over the course of the next 5. They'll have 3 of them. And the Lions they traded away a lot of their team. They're no longer even the last year's Lions. I got sick of. I feel so bad. Like I don't feel
Yeah.
that bad, but like I wish it was like never. I wish it didn't have to be me every year. And I think it's probably me getting my team getting revenge from that one wild card game a few years or a few seasons back. I just remember that one play just burned me with like I think it was the end of the half, and I'm like, all right, we're going into the half with the lead, and then he just
Hmm.
gets a guy wide open and to take the lead back going into the half, and we lost it. So
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
that hurt. So my team's probably that's why my team always goes hard against the Lions. But I wish it was they could get matched up with other people other than me, because they're a fun team. I like Hughes a lot, and it's always a spooky team. I always never sure that I'm gonna win those games. It's never a sure thing. Those Lions are very spooky. But I think this is not that spooky Lions team no more. It's blown up. They're dead. Except for Hughes. Hughes is still
Yeah.
around,
Except,
but
but yeah, and he's got star. He's got star.
he got.
Finally.
But now you
It's a little
have
too late.
right. But I think here you just go best player available with your next 3 picks. There's so many needs. I think you take Daryl Bush out of Penn State. He's 22, but he's a strong fucker. This dude's strong. He's pretty fast, and he can pass block, and he can do everything. He can pass and run block. Everything you want. I think he'd be perfect for rebuilding this Lions team.
So yeah, I mean, again, we're kind of in these middle rounds coming together again. I think Dale Bush is the fourth best, lineman on the board. Uh, he's, I mean, like he's more towards the running oriented tackles.
Sure,
He's a lot more, if you want to ground and pound and stuff like that, I'd see him more as a right tackle
sure,
more than I do a
but
left
even
tackle. But
still
again,
hold his
but
own.
even still, the Lions have a lot of work to do.
Mhm.
And Hughes is at least a consistent thing that you can work with. And if you can keep him
Yeah.
upright, then you can at least have a shot. They have a couple more picks down the line that we'll talk about, and we can talk about it when we get there. But it's just the Lions need to protect Hughes. And I mean, it's a boring pick. It's a boring goal
Right.
line pick.
But you with your team, you need them, and I think Bush is by far the best player on this board left.
Left.
So you just
Yes.
got to take the man. Just be like, all right, it's O line, but this dude's gonna be a stud. Next up, we have the Bills, and again, the Bills, I, the new quarterback really killed it. I thought he did good, but he's just got a lot of pressure on him. Just wasn't
Hmm.
wasn't as good as his potential maybe could let him be. And maybe he needs a few targets. That seems like a Bills problem to have a lack of targets for your new quarterback. But, there's none here. You can't find them here. They're lost.
Nope.
So I think here you just got to go. We're going to have a little bit of a run on O line here. And I think you take Thurman Ragland, who Alex had going 12 to the Vikings. Ragland, I don't rate him as high as Bush, O'Neal, or Richardson. He's probably
Hmm.
like a second level to them. Those guys are all real good. Um, where I have Ragland just being a good pass blocker, but not quite as like of a like freak as some of those other guys. They're not. He's not quite as good. I could see him maybe going over Bush actually, just because the year age difference, and maybe being marginally. Uh, Even if he's less polished, that age might be enough to be like, yeah, I'll take him because I can develop him
Hmm.
better. But I think Ragland here is a good value pick. It's O line boring, but
Yep.
gets the job done.
O line wins championships maybe. I don't know. The Broncos had that good defensive line that preyed on bad O line throughout the playoffs. So maybe just do that. But the Bills, I think they have to protect their new rookie quarterback and Ricky White. I love his arm. I had so much fun watching him, even though he beat me this year. Uh,
Mm,
Unfortunately, Ragland's gone in my board, but I still think they get a great tackle in Timmy Brinkley out of
mm,
South Carolina. Uh, he's where I kind of start my two list. I think there's four top tier linemen, and I
sure.
think Brinkley's the cutoff.
Yeah.
He's a for sure right tackle. He's more towards the helping out. Uh, what's his name? I always make a joke
White.
about him. The running back.
Oh wait, no.
The running back.
Braden
Brockhampton.
Hampton.
Yes, yes. Thank you. I think he's more geared towards helping him, but still, he can sit back and pass block all day for you, coming off that right side.
Mhm. I like him though. Brinkley is good, and I think again it's O line pick. O line's boring, but gotta do it. And I think that leads us
Mhm.
into the Rams. Rams had a killer year with Pryor and Bart leading the way, but that defense wasn't too bad.
No,
Um,
not at all.
but yeah, I think here you just continue to shore up that O line, give help out Bart, help out Pryor. Um, you take Brinkley. The one thing I like about people named who go by Timmy is like they could just go by Tim. They could go by Timothy, but they have a little fun with it. Timmy's a fun name. And I appreciate that about people who go by Timmy. And I think that personality quirk here is why Timmy Brinkley is a first round pick. You know, also, he can run block real well for Hampton, and he can also pass block too. He has everything you want, but he's got a good character. He's a character man, like him here at number 20.
Hmm. For me, I have them addressing the defensive side of the ball, who had a lot of takeaways that I remember last year.
Oh yeah, Ricky
Uh,
Fall killed it.
yeah, exactly. But I think they can get the last corner in this class before it dries up and going Arthur Styles,
Mhm.
who I mean he's more on the older side. He's still agile. He's still one of the quicker draftable corners in this class. He's got good press. He's a strict man coverage guy,
Right.
which I know when we're watching it we don't really see a lot of that.
Mhm.
But he seems to be able to stick to wide receivers, and that Rams team really feasts off of turnovers, and that's what Arthur Styles brings.
Sure. Yeah. No, Styles is good. I just don't think he's in quite the same level as Jones or Grimes. But Styles is still a good later first round talent. Like him. And I think Rams would be happy with him helping their defense give the ball back to their men on the offensive side.
Mhm.
Next up, we have Lions again with the double. And here, I think. Um, again, best player available. Maybe there's a couple people better out there, but not at this position. It's hard to find
Mm-mm.
value at this position at 21. So you're gonna just take get your new car, get the Bentley, get right outside linebacker Jay Bentley. Um, this dude's a physical freak, and he'll rush the passer real well. Um, and hit him hard. I like him. Not a whole lot more to say about him. He's just a good outside linebacker and a very good value, particularly at this position.
Yeah.
I don't think he's as good as even the other linebackers. Probably should say that. I think even um, I like Barty even more than him. Uh, considering I've had him going a lot earlier, but I think Bentley as a value pick here certainly will make that team immediately better. They need it bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Lions are in after dumping everyone. They're in best player available mode,
Hmm.
and I think they got a good best player available in Bush to 3 picks earlier. I think they get another best player available in Jay Bentley as well, outside linebacker. He can maybe even shift to 4-3. I believe that the Lions are 4-3. They can just move
Hmm.
him to edge rusher,
Yeah,
and so you kind of start to build those interiors outward.
sure,
The one thing that puts me off of Bentley becoming an outside linebacker is his speed.
sure.
That 4.72 scares me so much as a linebacker, giving up that edge, giving up those quick out routes to receivers and
Hmm.
tight ends. I don't trust Bentley there to be an outside linebacker that can cover, drop back into coverage at all. I see him strictly as a pass rusher.
Right. Yeah. No, Bentley. I'm a. That is a good concern. I think that's kind of partially why he's not the same level as the other ones that have gone so far. But I think again, position. He's. It's a position of need. People will pick him, and I think any other draft he wouldn't be here this late. Um, Next up we have Lions again. We do have more
Yeah,
Lions.
wow. Wow, Rar.
You know, and I think here, Alex again. It's another swap in the same positional group. I have Javier Addison
Hmm.
going here out of Washington. Addison, the thing that Addison's, I find Addison versus Stevenson real interesting here, cause Stevenson I think's more put together, but he of course he had so many more years in college, he had 2 more years in college. Where Addison's 22, a little more raw, but I don't think that much more raw. The one thing that's different about them is Addison gets after the passer a lot better than Stevenson, but Stevenson just stops the run a lot better, and I think Browns with their edge rushers would value run stopping here, where Lions just need more anything. And Addison here is great. This dude's a combine warrior. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. Like he's literally the fastest defensive tackle and also the strongest defensive tackle. Like
Hmm.
and one of the quickest, like most agile. So I think as a pass rusher, I'm pass rushing DT, it's hard to find anyone better here. I like Addison a lot. I think he could be a huge difference maker for these Lions.
Well, yes, yeah, like you again keep spoiling. I am also going best player available, which is Nick Stevenson, who again you had. Well, where did you have him go? You had him going a couple picks earlier, top with the Browns at
17.
17. Yeah, definitely one of the better interior rushers, best linemen I think still left on the board. The
Hmm.
one downside is his age, but we don't have that many years left anyway. Uh, he's he's not what I want in a defensive tackle in terms of I want someone that can rush the passer. I want someone that can get this interior pressure, and I
Yeah.
just don't see Stevenson doing that for me. But again, the Lions just have to stick to their guns, go best player available, fix this interior on both ends, and work outwards because we've seen defensively how awesome a good front seven is in
Yeah.
terms of like the success that it gets. The 49ers and the Broncos got to their Super Bowls off the backs of their respective defensive line.
Mhm.
Like that was they ransacked through the playoffs this year on both sides of their conferences.
For sure. So I think yeah, with these three picks, the O line, we had the collective O line with Bush with their first pick, then collective Bentley with the line's second pick, and collective defensive tackle with their third pick. I think with those three guys on those team, that makes that Lions team a really good young threat,
Hmm.
and just building forward, it's a good foundation along with Hughes to just do a lot in the coming years. Um, Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Um, Steelers, Dustin, another perennial playoff boy. He's always
Yes,
here.
always
Always,
there.
always here.
You two are tied at the hip.
Uh huh. Um, so here, I think it's tough here because a lot of his other weaknesses are already gone, but he has a pretty solid all around team. So I think here you just go one of your weakest spots and just go Donnell Cowart out of Georgia. He's a young, strong safety who doesn't have the coverage, but he's kind of just got that game sense, and he's just real fast and well, not fast. I wouldn't say super fast. He's not quite a combine freak as some of the other, such as Walt Freeman, but he's still a real quick guy. Um, and he's good at running people down and hitting them hard, and just knowing
Hmm.
what it feels like. Sometimes he has that supernatural sense of knowing what the defense is gonna call.
For me, I think Devin Bush is still alive.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain Devin Bush is still alive on the Steelers, and that's funny to me. But I think they go Darren Lee out of Georgia, the main character from the Left 4 Dead, uh, you know, uh, video game from years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. Remember that? Remember that
Yeah.
game? Yeah.
We played that in
Lee,
forever. Yeah. Oh yeah.
right?
Lead the.
Lee,
Yeah.
out of Georgia, out of Georgia.
It's been,
Uh,
it's been so long.
right? I think Lee will be the perfect way to bridge that gap from Devin Bush onto this new defensive attack that the Steelers are going to put forward. I don't think it's necessarily the biggest need that they have. I think it's the best that they have available.
Hmm.
I like Lee more than you have him rated as.
Oh yeah.
Again, I still think he's that. And again, linebackers. This is one of the deepest we're ever gonna have probably for the rest of this
Oh yeah.
Madden. Versus safeties, who I think are always not always there in terms of players, but they tend to
Sure.
fall more. Safeties tend to dribble down into the later picks anyway than linebackers will.
Uh
So
huh.
you got to take a shot when you can.
That's fair. Yeah. I think get the big man. Um.
Hmm.
Get Cowart. But in either I could see Dustin taking. Next up we have Patriots' second pick. Haven't picked in a while, but it's still his second pick. Oh wait, is it? Yeah, it's Patriots.
Yeah, that's Patriots.
And I have him going Christian Culliver out of Nebraska. He's 21, coached by Zach Wells at Nebraska. Zach Wells knows how to teach him how to get to that passer.
After a very good NFL career,
Of course,
after a
you
respectable
know,
NFL career, then he goes
respectable
back
at
to
tight end.
Nebraska.
He
Hmm.
goes back to Nebraska to coach him up. You know, good coaching career. Gonna
Yep.
become a long stay. He's gonna get better offers, but he's gonna stay with his gut, stay at Nebraska, become that Nebraska legend. But yeah, I like Christian Culver a lot. It's a lot of ends here. Um, I think they're kind of getting slightly worse, but there's a lot of like. I think there's like for me, it's like Mayer and Thomas are the top tier, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think even Jameson in the sense
No, yeah,
they're
yeah,
kind of a level down. Not that they're saying they're bad, but not quite the top tier level.
yeah.
But Culver's a decent pick, and again, he's got the moves, and I think that's a necessity if you want a good pass rusher. Um, if you want a good run stopper, don't need it, but if you're picking a lot, if you want a edge here, you want at least a good move.
Yeah. I agree with you on Culliver. I feel like the Patriots have, and I forget, I failed to mention this back when we were talking about it earlier in the second. Um, and like they have probably the oldest like defense probably in the league, at
Oh
least
yeah.
front seven wise. They're all just like 30 plus. They're like real players.
Oh
They're
no,
like all real
no. If
players.
you they had this team in
10 years
2020,
ago,
if they had this in
yeah,
2020 and told me it's like holy shit,
yeah, like these are
that'd be an
all
insane team. But these boys are not 2020. Here
no,
I'm
it's
gonna go through them all because it's like
sure.
what the
Yeah, while you do
here's
that,
all
I'll
their edge
continue to talk
rushers.
about it.
You have DeForest
Yeah.
Buckner, Trey Flowers, Marcus Davenport, and Montez Sweat all on that defensive line. Who again, 2020
And then
would have been
look at
killer.
linebackers. Look at
I have
linebackers.
not looked at linebacker here. Let me get to that. But like 2020 would have been amazing. Someone told me, "Wow, they
Hmm.
have all of that talent." Be
That's like a
insane,
fantasy draft.
right? Even more like at that point you couldn't get all of them. Then you have Tack McKinley, Quan Alexander, T.J. Watt, all on this. Roquan Smith, Zach Cunningham, and the on the linebackers. Like, yeah, again, that would be an insane team IRL today. But sad, this in Madden they've all regressed now.
Hmm.
So like, you're gonna have to replace them. I think here you do that,
Yeah.
taking strong
Yeah.
edge. I honestly could be a day one starter. Um,
I think he has to be on it. Like
sure.
he's 21. Like the Patriots need to address this. They're good. I think these old players are good rotation.
Oh yeah,
They're good to rotate around, maybe fiddle around with that sort of sub in, sub out.
yeah.
But with the 3 first round picks that you have, fix this defensive front. Get them
Mhm.
faster, younger, fresher, anything.
I completely concur. So that leads us into the Colts, making the playoffs for the first time in seemingly ages since the Luck days, I think. Um, but glad to see him back here. Still have a couple weaknesses. Halfback, which you're not fixing right now. All the boys are gone. And then linebacker, you still have a couple more passable dudes. Not top tier, but I think Darren Lee out of Georgia, who Alex was praising earlier, I think would be a great fit for Indianapolis. And I think here, with just being a good pass coverage kind of guy and being quick, um, not gonna rush the passer, but I'm sure they would already know that going into it. Hopefully have some
Hmm.
good D line. I think they do have good D line. So yeah, no, Darren Lee is a good pass coverage, 4-3 linebacker, and I think he'd fit well in Indianapolis.
For me, the Colts are a surprisingly well-rounded team. Like you said, I mean, they made the playoffs for a reason, right?
Mhm.
For me, I think they go Javier Addison, who I think is just the best player left on the
Yeah.
board. He's the best in terms of raw physical ability, defensive tackle.
Sure.
He's got that beautiful move like you were talking about before, interior wise. They already have like a good number 1 defensive tackle, but he's
Mhm.
old. He's like 31. The number 2 defensive tackle's 27, and he's not as good. So I feel like it's more of a double dip. into what
Yeah.
you want, but it's just becoming such a force up front that again we've seen lead teams to the promised land before.
Oh yeah. I think that wouldn't be a bad. Addison's just so good.
Addison's a
By
beast. He's
far
just a
best
beast.
player available,
I
I believe.
In terms of like Stevenson and Addison, I barely rank Stevenson ahead of him.
Yeah. Stevenson is tough, and honestly, it's a situational thing. If you
Hmm.
are valuing run stopping, um, I think Stevenson's a better man. But I think talent wise, Addison is probably going to be end up being better. It'll be tough to see by the end of this Madden. It'll be close. Probably
Hmm.
Addison could even overtake him, but it's tough to say. I love them both.
Yeah.
I love a good DT.
Yeah.
Um, moving on, we have the last Patriots pick. Patriots have been a fun
For
team to talk
now.
about for now, but I mean for today that we're
Yes.
covering. And I think we're just emphasizing how old that D line is, and I think you just double dip. Even if you have those old 75 guys, they're not gonna be there next year. None of them are.
Nope.
So I think here you just take D'Angelo Presley. You get those two guys. You get Culver. You get Presley. Finally become a dynamic duo. Like they're forever linked by being the two guys picked right after each other. Um,
Hmm.
hopefully there's no locker room drama about what one was picked first. But you know, luckily this is Madden, and the only thing they care about is like wide receivers getting mad that they're not getting enough targets. So I don't think left or edges can
No, they
get
can't.
mad
They
at
can't get
you,
mad. No. The
which is
defense can get mad at you.
but not specifically edge. But
No.
anyways, this dude he's much more of a pure run stop. He does not have the move, but as a pure run stopper, I don't think there's very few others in this draft that's better. You know, this dude
Hmm.
he's got it all. And I think to pair with Culver, one guy getting after the passer, one guy getting after the runner, I think it's a good duo. You know, they complement each other well, complement what the other doesn't do quite as well. And I think together they will be very good and make that hopefully set the Patriots up to have a deadly defensive line going forward.
Hmm. For me, I agree with you on double dipping and just building this defensive front up and making them younger. They go for me Luther Faison out of South Carolina. He missed his combine.
Mhm.
I think that that is prime for a shot. Why not
Yeah.
get a shot at him? Combine skippers tend to have better chances at dev.
Mhm.
You
I
don't
didn't see
know what he
why he
brings.
skipped it, but
Yeah,
it
but even
didn't
then,
say.
like
It
it's
just said he
I think
missed
it's
it.
especially at 26, like take the risk, give it a shot. You never know.
Yeah.
And again, like he's still a run stopper. Like you said, I think they need to address also a run stopping edge rusher with a pass rushing edge rusher like Culliver.
Mhm.
You know, uh, so we're on the same track there. Just I think you take the high risk, high reward player in face then.
Sure. Yeah. No, Fason's I like him a lot. I mean, we'll see if he goes on my board or not by the end of this draft. I think it is tough. If you did pick him over Presley, it's because you're gunning for Dev,
Hmm.
which I mean's fair. Um, I like Presley, what I know about him better, but I mean, Faison could still have a better combine. It's tough to say.
Yes.
I think they're going to be comparable at the end of the day, though. Uh, next up, we have the last Titans pick. It's sad. We're wrapping this up. Only one more, or no, there's two more picks of people who've had other picks. So sad. I like to
Yes.
see get these doubles. It's exciting for them too, I'm sure. But I think Tyler, what he does here, I think he just shores up this great draft we've had him pick so far. I think you just take the best tight end available which is Caleb Ramsey out of the Ohio State University. I think that, I'm sorry. I think I might have said that too loud and might have spiked the audio, but the Ohio State University can develop some good tight ends, and Caleb Ramsey is no exception. He just does everything a tight end, especially a catching tight end, or not a blocking tight end. He just goes down the field and catches everything. That's what you kind of want from a dude like him. Not
Mhm.
the slowest dude. He's got some speed. Not, I won't say he's particularly strong, but he's pretty quick, and he can jump real high. So I value that. You just jump high, and then you just beat him, easy.
Yeah.
Not, I'm like pointing at my head doing that meme. The
Oh
think,
yes.
yeah.
I mean, like, I agree with you. I think Caleb Ramsey's the pick here. He's probably the only pass catcher, the only weapon available. I
Mhm.
don't think. I mean, like, for Blake Wilson especially, they need to get him some weapons.
Sure.
Uh, and it is one of the few needs that tight end that these other later round teams need.
Yeah.
Not many teams need a tight end anymore.
Mhm. It's a
Uh,
shame.
so so to get the best, I mean, to get the best tight end, the number one player at a position this late in the first, that's not like a fullback, kicker, or punter,
Not bad.
is valuable. Is valuable, especially rounding out this already very good draft by the Titans.
No, like the only need he really hadn't addressed is middle linebacker. I don't think
And
unless
the
you
two
pick
middle
like
linebackers move on.
three, yeah, no one can
Yeah,
address middle linebacker unless you moved outside linebacker in, which
yeah,
I didn't like too many of these outside linebackers moving in here.
no,
So yeah, no, I think Titans could set them up to be the winner of this draft if this our mocks pan out, which they won't. They won't pan out the way we
never
think they
will.
will. But yeah, no, I like uh this for the Titans. Next up, we have Josh Dolphins. And I think one thing, the biggest thing I've noticed about Josh's team, it's desolate. And
Mhm.
like especially on defense, past that uh defensive line, which is still very good, he has a grand total of zero linebackers. Not one
Wow.
linebacker. And of course,
Interesting.
you're not going into the season like that.
I mean,
And of course, he also has like one good. I think he has like one start. He's one startable safety, I think, and then one start really good. He's like 88 overall corner. So
sure.
like you have a lot of work to do in the back seven, and so even though you are missing all the linebackers, I don't think you go linebacker with just the one talent still left that a lot of these other teams didn't quite need as much, so they passed on him for someone more pressing. So I think you take Arthur Styles here, BPA. Um,
Mhm.
he's decent. He's a mid first talent. Oh, Uh, but like he fell down here. So he's got some man coverage, good at man, not quite as physical as the others, but he's still a decent dude. Just don't rate him as much as Grimes or Jones. So I think here as a number two corner can learn under the other. I forget his name, flipping on me. But Styles, Harry Styles, Arthur Styles rather. Uh, Not a bad pick here.
No. For me, I have them going Donnell Cowart, the strong safety out of Georgia. More Georgian people coming off the board. Like you said, Tyler, they have one safety in the entire thing. They have four corners, but one safety.
Mhm.
And so I think Cowart is like your prototypical strong safety. He is
Sure.
he's a box strong safety. He's tall. He hits well. He catches up to running backs well. He's got good angles. I think he's just I honestly I think this is one of the more boring positional picks you can get because he's just so average, normal, what you expect from a strong safety when you draft him. He provides no excitement outside of knowing that you have a solid player.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I like Core actually a lot. I think he's more
Mhm.
exciting than you're giving him credit for, but yeah. Core's fun. Does not quite the Walt.
Yeah.
Anyways, 29, we're Brent with the Chiefs. Sad came up a little short
Right.
against Salsa in the AFC West battle in the championship. But
Mhm.
so like this team's a very complete team. I think there's very only a couple spots you can get better at, and those spots are gone. Other than one, which is defensive tackle, which you could use another defensive tackle in your 4-3 defense if you're going that route. So I think here you go. Um, maybe it's a little bias from your own, but you can't turn down someone who is from Wisconsin. You go Andrew Roman. Brent loves his Scotties. Um, yeah, no, Andrew Roman not quite as talented as probably the rest of this draft or what I've picked so far, but it's just kind of the talents. I feel like around 28 is where like the talent starts to really dry up.
Yeah.
Like there's not a lot of talented players left, at least first round grades for me. But Roman is still a borderline first round pick. And I think, like, there's some intangibles, like, playing at Camp Randall every Saturday, or every other Saturday, half your Saturdays, at least during football season. Camp Randall's not too different than Arrowhead in terms of
Mm-mm.
atmosphere. It's a big stadium, big open stadium, loud, enthusiastic crowd. I think Andrew Roman would fit right in Arrowhead. Not too far of a move. Probably won't get homesick. Like him a lot. He's just a good second tackle, defensive tackle. Good at stopping up the run. I like him a lot for the Chiefs, even if he's not quite as talented as maybe some of the other people gone earlier.
Mhm. I have who you had going just a few picks earlier to the Patriots, D'Angelo Presley, that run-stopping edge rusher out of Auburn. 21. We've already talked about him a lot, but I just like that he can maybe cause some fumble problems for
Mhm.
opposing running backs. Uh, the especially with running quarterbacks in the West, Jamario Williams is going to have to deal with D'Angelo Presley's ability to break off of tackles and wrap them up.
Mhm. I like that. I think
Hmm.
Presley would be a great pick for the Chiefs if he's available.
Yeah.
Sweet. Next up, we have the G-Men, the Giants. And the Giants disappointingly lost to the Niners in the championship. And Fordham's hungry, and I can tell he's hungry. But it's like, what more
Yes.
can you do on that offensive side of the ball with the cap you have? So I think here you have to go on the defensive side, and that really the biggest weakness is linebacker and also halfback. But you can't get that here. But I think linebacker here you gotta go at. And there's still some decent, maybe not quite as strong linebackers. As I think this is probably the third tier. What would begin to be the third tier. Like
Yes,
I'd put
absolutely.
Lee
These
Bentley.
are
Yeah, Lee
these are
Bent.
borderline second round players that you're reaching
Sure,
for
but I
so
mean
that you
at
don't
30,
miss
it's
on it.
not that bad. It's
No,
still
that's what, like you don't because you're not going to have an early second anyway.
right.
So you
Right.
might as well grab these guys.
Positions needed, and at this point, I think it's fair to pick them, and it wouldn't even be much of a reach. So I think you
Mhm.
go the other Walt in this draft. There's multiple Walts.
There's
This is
multiple Walt,
2029. Naming habits and
Walt Whitman has become a household name,
right, leaves of
and people are
glass.
starting to.
People are reading Leaves of Grass every day.
Yep.
And well, I guess that would have been. Well, if this is 2029 and he's 22, this would have been in 2007. So I guess,
Oh shoot.
born in
Oh yeah.
2007. All the people in 2007 reading Leaves of Grass. Oh, Captain, my
Or what's the
Captain.
other one? Song
Oh,
of Myself. Song of Myself's another one. They're all.
yeah.
Don't you remember reading that, Tyler, in
Oh yeah, 10th
2007?
grade. Oh, well,
Absolutely.
I like Walt Whitman. He's a good
No, I
poet.
know, I know,
I
I know. I'm
enjoy
just
his
saying.
works. That transcendentalism is actually
Right?
real interesting, and I like him and his friends like Walden, not Walden,
We
Henry
know, we
David
know, we know
Thoreau, Ralph
metamorphosis.
Waldo. I mean, Metamorphosis.
Wait,
That's different. That's
maybe we
completely
have a.
different.
That's existentialism.
That's and also he's from that Kafka's
He's
from
from
Austria.
Germany.
He spoke
Or,
German.
yeah, Austria. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Uh,
anyways,
that's for another podcast. We'll get into
the
we can do a
AGML
transcendental.
Transcendentalist podcast discussing Ralph Waldo Emerson coming to you soon.
Yep,
Uh,
that takes over the quarterback ranking.
but yeah, no, Walt Arnold, yeah, kind of just he's a guy. He's
He's a guy.
decent. He's decent. He can do linebacker stuff. He's got a good combine. Maybe just a little more raw at the other things, but you
Mhm.
can teach those.
I like his tackling. I
Yeah,
mean, I
he
like
gotta
his
move.
ability
He
to
gotta
do linebacker.
move.
He does gotta move. It's Giants. You really don't have many holes that you can address right now. For especially at 30.
That's a
You're
compliment.
you're well. I'm just saying, like running back and cornerback, as you can see on the screen right there, aren't available. And so there's like this one like linebacker in the rough that you can address, and he's fine. He maybe makes a play for you. Maybe he'll get like a sack off a blitz play in the playoffs for you. That's about as best you can expect from him, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Or maybe he's Terrell Rose. Rose,
Ooh.
the former like 132 pick from years ago, has become like a superstar.
Yeah.
Like he could be that. So you know what? Now I'm getting hyped. Go ahead and get Arnold.
I like Arnold. He's decent.
Hey, every time he makes a play,
Hey.
be like, "Hey Arnold, hey Arnold," in 2029.
And every
Hey
time,
Arnold.
and if he lets you down, you can call him a Benedict Arnold. It works
Yeah,
out. Lots of
yeah.
you can do a lot with his name. He's got a lot of potential there. Clearly we're starting to get a little bit
Let's
bored with these latest
finish this up.
picks.
We lost a viewer
Oh
between our
God.
transcendentalism talk.
uh, yeah, we're losing our minds here. We gotta keep it under. We have 10 minutes to wrap it up to keep it under 2 hours. So next
Yep.
up we have the Niners again, and Niners we haven't seen them for a while. It's been
Mm-mm.
since the third pick, and so here, I think here it's a tough decision because there's no O line. There's
Nope.
unless there's some late ones I don't know about, which is probably true. Uh, I didn't do the most thorough O line investigation, but I think here you take a weird, even though they don't need it. I think here you take um the home pick for you for Twinkie. You bring
Hmm.
Freddie Cheney home. He's a Minnesota boy. You're from Minnesota. No, it works out. Freddie Cheney. Um, he's another one of those guys. He's a decent edge rush. He's not the greatest I've ever seen. I actually probably rate him probably as a better overall than Arnold or Roman going before
Hmm.
him. But the thing that I think works with the Niners is you still have the Bosa brothers. They're still kicking. They still have a couple more years. But you can probably move Cheney. He's a physical enough dude. He's pretty quick. Maybe his 40's not great. I'd be a little concerned about that. But he's got that agility, got that strength, and got those moves in pursuit that I think you could almost move him to outside linebacker and just let him play behind the or hope give him some time around Bosa brothers, and then when they start to regress, maybe that's his time to shine. Come in, you know, work his magic. I think this
Hmm.
is certainly not maybe a year one pick. Maybe have him at best be a rotational dude, but I think everyone else here would be the same. There's just not a lot of guys that could quite fit into your lineup. I think Cheney
Yeah.
has the best potential for that, in my opinion, based off his skill set.
Hmm. For me, I have him going Josh Iglesias, the number one player on the board. He's been sitting down at his draft table, wondering if he was just gonna go home. Uh, and so I love him. I love his strength that he brings to the table. I love how like he can just anchor and lead running backs where they need to go. Joey Bosa's not gonna be around forever. I think Joey's the older one. The
Yeah,
older
Joey's
Bosa
older.
isn't gonna be around forever. He's already 34. You just need to start aiming for a
Mhm.
replacement, especially late round. Um, and so I again he is more of a run stopping guy. He's more good at locking down running backs, running quarterbacks. You always you don't really do running quarterbacks, but other people do. And Iglesias can rotate out these older defensive linemen that you have and give them
Mhm.
some breaks.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I think just with the talent here, there's just so much D line still left, just because there's so much already available and people passing on it because they have good D line. So I think
Hmm.
here with your aging D line, getting a good backup and potential rotational guy is probably the best bet.
Hmm.
And finally, we wind down this long draft, long 32 picks. We have once again the Browns picking 32nd. Not the first time I've said that.
Nope.
This time is not because of his win, though. It's because of a trade. And, yeah, I think this is a tough pick to write down because a lot of the needs are gone or already addressed earlier in the draft. Both of us had him revamping that defensive side with linebackers and linemen, or D line. So I think here you might just take a flyer on a dude, and I think you this is tough to say because I don't think he's good, and I wouldn't even recommend taking him. I'm sure you have a better guy in mind, but Keenan Talbot is a quarterback out of Wyoming, for or one of the first good ones since Josh Allen, I believe. But Keenan Talbot is not great. I don't think he's probably like a 67 ish
Hmm.
overall, dude. But the thing that draws me to him is just at least out of the bat, he's got that he's just got a real good short and mid accuracy, and he can just make decent decisions there and make accurate decisions there. And that's something you can work off of. He's not
Hmm.
he's got stuff to work from. And as a quarterback less team, he's he could be that guy just to take a flyer on, test him out. Doesn't work out, fine. This is a 30-second pick. There's what else? Not a whole lot else I would pick over. I mean, you could probably find someone else you like more, but
Yeah.
you know, at least you'd have to at least entertain the idea of a quarterback here.
Yeah. I mean, like if I knew about quarterbacks later in the draft, I mean, I probably do need one, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't scout them because I'm bad. I have them going Clinton Whittington here, the strong safety.
Sure.
Interesting enough, I keep want to come point out you did not have Josh Eagles going off this board, and we'll come back to that.
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed that.
Oh yeah, no.
I think Clinton Whittington at least helps that safety. You have the corners still for a little bit longer,
Yeah.
and you have a good free safety. I just think the Browns need a better strong safety, or at least a more dynamic strong safety.
Sure.
I mean, it's the 32nd pick. It's always the boring pick. You
Mm-hmm.
actually kind of added some flair to it, which I like.
Some
Um,
good quarterbacks get taken 32nd overall.
yeah, that's just some.
Some good ones. Some
Yes.
very good quarterbacks. Um,
But I think this is a good wrap up of the mock draft this year.
yeah. But no, you wanted to talk about Iglesias?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask like
So,
why he's
okay, for
not
me,
there there.
I think he could be better than Cheney. For me, I find him and Faison to be very similar, and I guess
Hmm.
in that regard also Presley. I think they're all
Sure.
alike. The biggest reason I picked Cheney over them for Twinkie is because
It's just the Minnesota
Cheney,
thing.
Minnesota, and also Cheney's a lot more flexible. I think
Sure.
you could put him at outside linebacker way better than you could put Iglesias there. And but
Hmm.
Cheney can still play edge. He's a lot more just flexible, and I think that's more valuable at this point for Twinkie's team than a D line that might be a backup. You know,
Yeah.
at least
Sure.
Cheney can maybe find a role somewhere in that team.
Okay.
Anyways, that's my reasoning. Might be bad, but you know,
Well, maybe I'll beat you this mock. Maybe I can
I
finally
think
beat
you
you in a
will.
mock.
I think you will. This had a lot of weird things I put together. I put a lot of drafting by team needs, and I don't know if that's how it'll work. We'll see. I mean, we're already wrong, probably based off of
The
the
Falcons
trades.
trade.
Yeah, so we'll see. So yeah, thank
Yeah.
you everyone for listening to this. I really appreciate all the subscriptions from Ryan and Dustin. All your
Yeah.
support over the last few months have been really like
Especially as we
it's
wind
too
down.
much. Like that last
Yeah.
Madden's like I don't you you don't think you'd be telling people in April of a Madden year like to say
Don't
calm
scream.
down with your
Stop
Madden.
screaming.
Like
Yeah.
that's not how it works. So I
That
very
was
much
not what our
appreciate
expectations were.
everything you guys have been helping out and making our dreams come true with this league. So thank you very much. Thanks for listening. Have a good night.
Fans of Journalism podcast next month.
Woo!